All right, well, welcome everyone to our presentation on FSG IoT Made Simple. I have Cameron and Luis from Mydevices with me today, but who are they? What are they? You all know our Smart Buildings group. You know that we've been involved in IoT. You're all involved in IoT in some way, shape, or form with automated lighting controls and different things, but we all know that IoT is a lot more, and a lot of people think it's very complex and are intimidated by it or feel that it's over their head. And I'm just going to share my screen for a second and just show you. This is a landing page that we have set up on the FSG site. It's pretty simple, fsg.com/IoT. And this isn't your regular smart buildings IoT. This is a simplified IoT solution that we put up. And this is what I've asked Cameron and Luis to come today to kind of give everybody an explanation of. But we've set this up. We have our infrastructure set up. We just finished are finishing up a very large indoor air quality project down in Doherty, Georgia, that Doherty Public Schools, that is based on this technology. So I thought it would be great to open the kimono and share this with everybody. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn the show over to Cameron. All right.
Yeah, and I'll jump in and share my screen straight away here. So first of all, hey guys, I'm Cameron from Mydevices. It's been a pleasure working with Bernie and John here and the rest of the team. So I'm super excited to expand our relationship to the masses here and see some traction and success straight away with these solutions. So what you're seeing on my screen is just an intro to who Mydevices is and how we enable FSG to go to market with smart building solutions and other IoT solutions. So what you're seeing on the screen is our sensor library. And as a company, what we've done, and our motto has always been to simplify IoT, because there's so many businesses out there that want to get involved in IoT, but the complexities prevent them from reaching any scale or selling solutions with repetition and consistency. And one of the ways that we go about simplifying it is, as I scroll down here, is we've actually aggregated over 1,100 different IoT sensors into a singular ecosystem and through a singular provider. One of the big complexities of IoT is wrapping your head around all the different possible sensors and having to figure out where to get these sensors from. They all come from different vendors and different providers, and they've got different apps and all of this stuff. We've taken all of that out. We are a single supplier to FSG for any sensor for any use case. So we'll start there and say that we are not intimidated, and you shouldn't be intimidated by the inquiries that may come from your potential customers. If they want to do smart parking, if they want to do air quality, if they want to do leak detection, if they want to do fill level monitoring, temperature sensing, building automation solutions, trash bin fill levels, anything, you name it, we've got a sensor for it. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, we've created an incredibly simple way to actually turn these sensors on and make them work. We do all of the provisioning, configuration, and everything. So what happens is, inside of your guys' FSG dashboard, which looks something similar to this. This is our demo portal, but you've got your version of this. You can actually see the data from any sensor for any use case. So whether we're monitoring how much water a toilet's using in gallons, how much energy a building's using, the temperature, we provide a singular interface to mix and match any sensor and instantly visualize that data. Aside from just kind of the standard list view here, we also have other views. So you can see if your customer has multiple buildings, or in a school district, they might have multiple schools, they can see all of those different locations on a map, and they can click on a specific location and then see the sensors that are deployed in that location, and then go a layer deeper and even see historical data, like on charts or table views, things like this that allow them to visualize the data in different ways. And then I'll jump over to...
I'm gonna just stop you for 1 second, Cameron, because we're early in the presentation here. And the one differentiating factor that I want, as I imagine a lot of our sales team sitting there saying, holy crap, this is even worse than, smart buildings. This is so complex. This is so difficult. And I know you're going to get into that. But before I lose anybody right out of the box, what I want to tell everybody is the reason that I'm running this webinar today, and the reason that we really have started dialogue with Mydevices, is this is super simple. And the super simple part of this, Cameron's going into how amazingly robust this is, but the amazing thing is you can sell one of these sensors that Cameron just showed you, one sensor, just one, and you could price it yourself, right? Somebody wanted just one of these products, and you wanted to put in one temperature sensor with a gateway for it, you could sell that, and it's under $1,000, and you could sell it tomorrow in 10 minutes, right? And this, my hope for this, and my hope for this relationship, this doesn't replace smart buildings and to the contrary, it's a beautiful complement. But what I want to do is start to make you guys all comfortable with selling IoT. And I've never found anything this simple to sell. So with that, I just want to do a little reset there, and now turn it back to you, Cameron.
Yeah, no, that's super important. So kind of high level, we went through, yeah, there's all of these sensors, and we've built a single place where you can really deploy anything. So then it comes down to, okay, well, what do you deploy? There's so much. Okay, what do we focus on? And Bernie, to your point, this is a simple temperature monitoring dashboard. And I like to begin with simple solutions like this because almost all buildings have some kind of temperature monitoring that's required. A school needs to know the temperature of the refrigerators and the cafeterias. And in fact, there's compliance behind temperature monitoring in a lot of scenarios. If any building or any customer is storing food, they have to actually check the temperature of the refrigeration units that are holding that food. And if they don't, then they're out of compliance. They basically have to prove that the food that they're giving to the students or to the staff, wherever it's going, is safe to eat. And the way that they prove that is by what the temperatures are. So literally just one sensor, like Bernie was saying, just a temperature sensor. It's wireless. You literally can take it, stick it in the fridge and walk away from it. And then immediately you get temperature readings on a chart. You can set alerts. So if this temperature is ever too hot, it'll send text and email notifications to the people in the building saying, hey, we need to go check this refrigeration unit. So just a really, really simple solution that solves a major problem. There's ROI associated with this because there are people who are walking into these refrigeration units at the school district or at the hospital or wherever it is, in the restaurant, checking these logs on a regular basis. So if you look at their hourly wage and how much time they spend every day, opening a refrigerator door, looking at the thermostat, and then, writing that down, we can automate that entire process by just sticking temperature sensors in there. Similarly, we've kind of packaged up, and that's what I was showing here is these just different dashboards that are kind of included that make a sensor more than a sensor. It makes the sensor a solution. So another one is energy metering. We've got sensors that you can put on appliances or anything with electrical current, and we can see how much energy it's using. So is the refrigerator overworking itself? Is the HVAC unit overworking itself, or anything that might draw power? And there's all kinds of other things too. Indoor air quality, I know, has been big, and Bernie, that's what the project that we're working on now is monitoring CO2 levels inside of classrooms. Even in any building now, ever since COVID, in any building you go in, the facilities teams in those buildings want to know the CO2 levels in multiple different places, in conference rooms, in classrooms, in office spaces, whatever it is. And it's because this air quality indication can tell you a lot about how well or poorly ventilated those buildings are. And if they have poor ventilation and CO2 is high, then they're at higher risk to spread viruses, influenza, anything else. So they are, a lot of buildings are tracking their CO2 levels pretty intensely to make sure that their airflow is at a good rate. So again, one simple sensor, you can put it in every building, in every room, and now you've got a dashboard that tells you what your air quality levels look like inside of that building. Another one that's pretty popular that I think I saw on your website too there, Bernie, is these survey buttons. And I can show kind of a close up on that on our marketplace here, but there's many uses. Like this one, you see smiley face, sad face, medium face. They're also used for service requests, like a leak is, if there's a leak in the bathroom and a puddle in the bathroom, or toilet paper roll is empty or paper towels are empty, the user in the building can push a button, and we can actually, create processes for that. We can send alerts to somebody to go refill the toilet paper roll or anything else. So that's another use case here with just, again, one simple device, creating a solution. So one of the things that help with the simplicity are the gateways that actually go into the building. So think of these like a Wi-Fi router in your house. Once these gateways are deployed inside of the building, they're getting tremendous range. So you don't need a ton of them, but you can fill this building with coverage needed for the sensors to communicate. So once these gateways are stood up, you can go deploy sensors for many different use cases, all back to the same gateway and within the same dashboard, the same application that I've been showing. It's the same product for all of the different sensors. So starting with temperature monitoring in the refrigerators, or CO2 sensors in the rooms, or push buttons in the bathrooms, these very simple, easy to explain and easy to show value in solutions, gets your foot in the door to then later go back and say, hey, now that you have the temperature sensor, do you also want CO2 sensors? Or do you also want this? Or do you also want that? That's where you can go back and offer the library of sensors, or start to listen to the customer, and they might have more custom projects and requests. But it is what we like to refer to as land and expand opportunity within your book of business. So the key, I would say, is finding that low-hanging fruit based on who your customer is, what types of problems they might have that would be an easy win, and then you can build on top of that solution by adding in more sensors. This dashboard here too, just to throw another possibility in here, is actually people counting. Very simple solution. There's sensors that you can put on entryways into a bathroom, for example, or into a conference room, and it counts the number of people going in and going out. So we can actually see how many people are in the room currently, and you can see trend data over time about how occupancy might vary at certain hours and times of the day. And you might say, well, why does this matter? Why would people do this? Well, for a lot of reasons. Number one, cleaning schedules for facilities teams. They want to know, hey, if this bathroom has not been used at all today, we're not going to waste our time and go and clean it. That's massive ROI there with the employee hours. Same with conference rooms. If nobody's had a meeting in this conference room, why clean it? So by putting people counter sensors in these rooms, you can actually make more proactive decisions on your maintenance timelines. These also might be used for conference booking. Like, hey, is that conference room open? We know if there's occupancy in there or not with a basic sensor. So, I can dive into some of the features of the product that kind of make, show the value, like things like alerts and reports and all this other stuff. But I guess, Bernie, I'll turn back to you just momentarily. Is there anything else you'd like me to kind of cover on this, or go over in more detail on the product side, or anything else you'd like to see here? And is this hopefully helpful for your sales teams out there?
Perfect. Yeah, a couple of things. First off, one point to understand is that these gateways, as Cameron had put up before, these gateways are not Wi-Fi gateways. They're not on the network per se, but they're using a different technology called LoRaWAN. Now, nice thing about that is that it has a very good range, but we've all had some issues with some of our customers saying, I don't want this on my network. It's going to slow down my network. The IT people don't want to get involved. So nice thing that we found about this is that it's separate. It's a different technology, and it's a lower, bandwidth technology. So it's not for everything, but it's great for this. It works really well for this. Outside, the range of these gateways is very far. But up to 15 miles. But inside, we find that one or two in a school building, or an average space up to 40 offices is covering that whole space. So that's number one. Number two, they could be cellular if we want, right? These gateways could be completely independent, and FSG is now set up as a T-Mobile reseller. We could sell this with the cellular service, and if you look at our landing page later, you'll see, that we charge a fee for every device that's out there. So FSG charges a recurring fee for each device, and we also, will charge them for the cellular service. It develops a kind of a bit of a recurring revenue. So this is kind of neat. And again, yeah, these are just what I did on the page was put a couple of different products up there. But if you click here to see other solutions, Cameron, down below where it's red, this is just our first stab at this. And this brings up a whole series of sensors that are costing them $2 a month. And I haven't changed this since then. And what's been amazing is that Mydevices has been adding a lot of products. But, when someone says, and that's been the complaint that people had when, you know, we're getting with smart buildings, they're saying, well, these initial conversations are difficult and we're trying to, you know, help our customer understand. This is really simple. We have a price list for the product. Let's say it's $100 for the refrigerator sensor, $2 a month to be connected to the network. And if that's all you sold them, you have a gateway and a refrigerator sensor. Well, it's basically the cost of the gateway, which we saw was a couple $100. Let's say we have $100 for the refrigeration sensor. And then if you're using cellular, there's a charge for the cellular. I think it's $30 some odd a month. And if they're not using cellular and they're using their Ethernet, backbone there to power it, there is no additional charge above and beyond that. And that's something that you could easily sell to a customer, or at least get a feel for them, and then engage Luis and the team, when you need some more help on it. And you'll see as you scroll down there a little lower as well, there was a understanding or explanation of LoRaWAN that I put, a little white paper on there for people to understand what this network is, right? So this is, this is about their LoRaWAN system, how that works. So again, simplicity, that's what I'm really trying to drive home here. And energy monitoring, Cameron, is something that we get involved with, and not so much about monitoring an individual device per se, but we do energy retrofits of buildings. We change out lighting in buildings, and people, and then there you go. I was going to ask you to bring that product up, the hot drop. But this is really a pretty wild product for any of you guys that haven't seen something like this. But this is a great way, if somebody wants to see the energy from your lighting retrofit, to be able to put this on their lighting panel. And so, Cameron, I'll let you talk about the hot drop product.
Yeah, sure. So what's unique about the hot drop is that it's self-enabling, or it doesn't depend on power running to the device directly by either battery or hardwire. It actually uses a magnetic current to power itself. So it's truly set it and forget it. And also the other thing that's unique about it is that it installs in minutes or seconds, really. It's just a clip-on current meter, AC current meter. So this is showing an appliance level, right? Like a single power line, like I was talking about, like a refrigerator line, a dishwasher, or something like that. As I scroll down to the bottom of the data sheet, they also have larger CT sizes, so you get up to 5,000 amps from this device. But at the core, it's the exact same concept. It's just you snap that thing on, and now you can get the current draw and monitor for energy utilization. So we see this used for all kinds of different use cases. I mean, in areas where they're putting temp sensors in refrigerators and then strapping on an energy monitoring sensor to the refrigerator as well, to see how temperatures correlate to energy utilization, so that they can provide, so that you can provide some kind of metric around how to save as much energy as possible in refrigeration units. It could be, on the entire lighting panel, let's track how much energy is being used, and then we'll do an LED retrofit. And okay, now we can actually have concrete savings available to you through reports, because we were monitoring utilization prior to and post retrofit. Or, these are just some ideas and ways that we see this used, even in HVAC units and other things for a predictive maintenance sort of use case. We can see runtime with this device. We can see how long a machine or a motor or something is running, because we can, see the current utilization. So many use cases for this one single device, and they've made it so easy to install and utilize that, I mean, Bernie, to your point, like you might walk in and just say, I mean, for $2 a month or whatever the price is for this particular sensor, just try 3, 4, 5 of these, just snap them onto your things. We'll get you a dashboard. It's so cheap. They can see the value instantly, and then, okay, hey, you can even expand beyond that if needed, but it's almost a no-brainer. And there might be enough curiosity alone from the customer to say, hey, I want to try this thing. If it's this easy, why not? Might as well. And I know with ESG compliance and all this stuff coming down the line in a hurry, this is one of the first things, and this is probably one of the most popular sensors that we've seen over the course of the last 6 months or so, because of its ease of use and the data that's pulling out. I mean, energy utilization, I don't know about you guys, Bernie, but here in California, like my electric bill is like 3 times higher than it's ever been this month, because energy is hard to come by at this point, electricity. So these devices are almost a no-brainer for most buildings at this point, in addition to whatever else they might be interested in. So,
And what's really cool is this isn't, Mydevices doesn't make this product, and it's not the only energy monitoring device that they offer, right? They have regular CTs on a regular device that goes, that can be put out there. They've got this utility device, which, the hot drop, which is really cool. And it has the antenna all built into one, but there are a bunch of, different devices. There are some that have, displays, some that, are just current monitors, some that are, are full, voltage current and, monitors. So a bunch of different products that are out there that, that kind of do the same job. And when we talk about the dashboard, that's another, yeah, so there, there's a monitor, right? Yeah, that goes inside the panel and utilizes a CT, so there are different products that they have out there. But when we talk about the dashboard, now we're seeing this Mydevice dashboard, and Cameron had mentioned the FSG dashboard. So if you stop sharing for a second, Cameron.
Yep.
And if I pop on.
Here we go. Looking for my bar there. There we go. Okay.
There you go. So if I pop on, and if I just go over here and pick up our FSG dashboard. So we have done, Mydevices has white labeled an FSG dashboard. Now this is different than Chariot, and this is different than what our Smart Buildings group is doing. This is just something else that we can offer, particularly for that smaller customer that's really not of an enterprise level, and is not ready yet for smart buildings. And this single pane of glass, and you may have heard that term, but this is what people want. They want a single pane of glass, basically where they see their devices. So the same thing that Cameron has been showing you, this is our FSG dashboard, and this is what our customers are going to see. And here again, this is the Perth Amboy location, my office, my garbage can, my indoor air quality monitor, which, by the way, you'll see it's 89.3 degrees in my office, and it actually is. That's not an untrue statement. Our air conditioning is broken today, so I'm not in my office. I'm actually in the other building. But here we have the refrigerator, and again, I'll lift up here. I happen to have a refrigerator right at my thing for my iced tea, and here's the temperature monitor that we talked about, just a different one that was current at the time with Mydevices, showing that it's 36.7 degrees in my refrigerator. Totally gets rid of that monitoring. And again, as Cameron said, you can go in and now you can have all of that recorded data that is required by the Board of Health. And particularly if someone gets sick, whether it be in a school or in a restaurant or whatever, we have many national account customers, as some of them may be using automated solutions, but more often than not, they have a thermometer hanging inside the refrigerator, and somebody's going around with a clipboard taking those readings. And a very simple solution like that. When does the garbage can have to be empty? Is the bathroom dirty? Different things like that. But main thing I wanted to show you is that this FSG white labeled single pane of glass dashboard, easy to understand, and easy for you to go out there and be able to sell. So we're right up to 30 minutes, and that's a nice sweet time for me with these push outs, Cameron. So what I'd like to say is I wanted to give everybody here a little intro of what's out there. We're going to do some more training, and we're going to roll this out to you, but it's something I wanted everyone to get exposed with. Feel free to reach out to me if you want more information. I'm setting up files on the public in the Google Drive, actually, until the resource center is ready for us to have files on these products. I'm setting them up, and I'm doing that with all the innovation products, and that includes the Mydevices products, EV charging, disinfection, and it's all going to be on Google Drive, and that'll be an email that, if you haven't received it yet, will be coming out shortly, and will be accessible to all of the sales team. And so with that, I'm going to say thank you for attending, and don't drop off yet, Cameron, but I'm going to stop the recording of this so that we'll be able to push this out. And if you have questions about the Mydevices line or FSG simplified IoT offerings, reach out to me, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Cameron.